one of the things that I want to talk with you is actually connected to your presence here and this whole initiative that you've started, so the College of Extraordinary Experiences. Yeah, could you dive a bit deeper into what that actually means, and then from then we'll move on to some other curiosities that we had while researching for what you did so far. Who wants to take over?
Paul, definitely.
Paul. Okay, Paul.
I can't say the F word now. I can't say the F word. Okay.
You won't see it, but
So the College of Extraordinary Experiences is an event taking place in Poland, in a 13th century castle, and it's a yearly gathering of people that have different talents. And the main anchor of everyone that gathers is the design of experiences that have a powerful impact on us as humans, but also now we've started an initiative that looks more on how can we use experience design to create a positive impact on the environment and on society. And we have all met there or at the event. I'm one of the co-founders, and Bartosz and Michael have joined as castle musicians, and magnificent experience designer Barbara is already a 4th year participant, and we met at the University of Applied Sciences in Salzburg, where she's researching experience design, so that's kind of the link. And then we started writing a book together. And Thomas, I've met also at the campus of the University of Applied Sciences, and he joined this year at the college as part of, let's say, the sound part of the experience together. And that's where we kind of all met and moved the idea of how do you use sound to create transformation based on a quote that I really like is, you can't think yourself outside a box made of your thoughts. So you need to feel yourself outside of it. So that's why we're using music, for example, because it's really powerful.
Okay, so that's how you define another space other than this bubble, this box that you need to go pull yourself outside of.
And during our research, we kind of discovered that awe is one of the most powerful transformational emotions. And being at the College of Extraordinary Experiences, awe will happen in a sort of, in one way or another. And just by being in the space and being exposed to it, now we're also trying to understand how can we harvest that emotion and create spaces and experiences where people can have that powerful transformation.
Thanks for saying this to the question. Can we add another one now? And for this to have an answer, I think we need to step back and see the bigger picture. So what you do is something that the world is ready for, or how much the world is ready for such of like transformation, speaking about metamorphosis, in the sense of experiences, which is happening throughout the world, even in economy. People go more and more into the experience economy rather than anything that happened as usual. How do you feel this, Barbara?
I mean, from what we have been researching and trying to kind of link the planetary crisis to experience design in a way, is we need to be realistic about what is happening. And at the moment, it's bubbling. We can see, crisis happening all around the world, from wildfires, just this week, from wildfires, in Australia to kind of the, high water in Venice. So there's everywhere around the world some state of emergency. So we thought, how can we harvest really experience design in a very positive way and create a change? And we are surely perhaps some of the people who are part of this initial movement. But I think it's also about bringing the science and the arts together to find new ways to contribute, because we're all looking for a solution. And no one has found the one answer. And I believe there might not be the one answer, but it's more of a ground-up approach to say, how can every one of us individually, but also collectively make a small change and a small contribution. And then we might build up a bigger level, a global scale of what we discussed today through experiences and a lot of other things, from the food science to, all the events and topics that we discussed here today.
Okay.
I might add to that.
Cool.
Yes.
Go on.
Because you ask if the world is ready, and I feel like we better be. You know, I mean, it's kind of we're on the limits. So.
No other option.
Yeah, I feel like we need to be
Okay.
optimistic on that.
Because this is definitely a moment that could be defined as a transformation, and this is Metamorphosis, what's all about. Do you have one of these moments of your own that meant the most profound transformation ever? And could you briefly break down that moment, what it meant to you when it happened, just a bit of a details, bits and pieces, any one of you, or you can.
We were just talking about it today, like exchanging our moments.
Really?
I don't. You didn't feel that way.
Cut that out.
That didn't happen. Didn't happen.
No, it didn't really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the one with the ends. I don't know. Like I feel
Let's
like this is
remind
kind
him. Let's remind
Yeah.
him now.
Is it?
Okay.
Or do you understand the question also this way? Because for me, like I had
there was an interesting experience. I don't know if I want to cite it to the camera.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I put you on the spot. You don't need to.
Spotlight. Yeah.
Yeah, I can. You can always edit it out. It's
Yeah.
a funny story. I was like,
Sure.
I don't know, 19, and I was running through the woods in my hometown, and I came across a heap of ants. It was very funny, like a huge ant heap. And I looked at it for a long time. I was like, and then I had the feeling the ant heap was looking back at me. Was like, kind of being amused by me not perceiving it as an organism, like the same way, like I had the same feeling once. The other way around, there was like a lizard. It was scared by something and it ran up to me, and then it ended right at my feet, and it didn't realize me as a being because it was so big. And then it realized, oh fuck, there's something. And so I had this thing with the ant heap the other way around. That was kind of awe-inspiring, and I thought maybe there's some kind of collective intelligence in the ants together that makes them like a kind of organism.
Any of these eye-opening moments. If you have something to add on this, because then I would be curious to find out if we can, like share something with the people that are gonna watch the interview, in order for them to be able to spot out some of the.
Like similarities.
Yeah, exactly. When could they know that change and transformation is right around the corner? Yeah. So add on that, but we'll shift to some advice.
It was a very good question regarding awe, and maybe where was a moment that is this epiphany kind of. For me personally, it was relating to what Alex talked about today, high altitude mountaineering. So at the moment, 2 years ago, almost on the day, I was on a 6,000 meter peak in the Himalayas. And for me, the turning point when I was on the summit day at 6 in the morning, minus 30 degrees. And then I turned around and I saw 5 of the 8,000 meters mountains in front of me, including Everest. And it was the sunrise as well at the same time with that cold. And it's just nature. This is what we talked about today, vastness. You feel small, you feel humble when you're surrounded by such powerful nature. And I think the awe is also in the simplicity of that moment, and appreciating what is all around us, and then making sense of that experience and see, okay, we are just one very small part of this ecosystem here, and we need to be grateful for that and not destroy it in a way. Yeah.
Okay, so that was a powerful moment.
So I will kind of mix the example with some theory as well. So for me, it was burnout. I remember after one of the big events that we've organized, I simply like collapsed and I couldn't do anything, and I realized that I was like kind of burning out too much because of a million different reasons, and that kind of moment was a trigger of a positive transformation in my life. Interestingly enough, if you look at the science of transformation, the valence of the experience, whether it's positive, whether it's traumatic, or positive, whether it's Okay, let me do the cut again.
Yeah.
So, if you look at experiences, it doesn't matter whether the experience is positive, as in ecstatic, or negative, as in traumatic, for growth and transformation to occur. The most important element is not the experience, but the understanding of that experience and making meaning for yourself in order to integrate it in the context of the day-to-day. So for me, that was the trigger of something bigger that took time, and it usually takes time to integrate and to understand and to come to a new level of personal narrative, so to call it.
Okay.
And I mean, a good question is, what is the ultimate transformation? You know, if we're talking about metamorphosis. So when we were kind of searching this, and interestingly enough, it's stillness. It's simply a state. I mean, usually when you have an awe-inducing experience, that's a peak. It's really powerful. But then when you don't have that, and you might want to look for the next one, and that's kind of the danger zone. That's kind of being what we call like a transient experience junkie, looking for the next peak.
So just in the search of a next.
Yeah, and in between peaks, you're in, you know, fear of missing out of the awe-inducing experience that you might miss out on. So I think the ultimate transformation is moving from fear of missing out to love of missing out, because even if you look, you know, at an ant farm, or you look at you're on a higher altitude peak, the experience, the emotion can be similar, and the state of presence and awe-inducing moment can be similar. But if you're in a state of love of missing out, then you can be fully present and therefore see the miraculous in the what we call the ordinary life. You know, it can be any sound or anything, right? So just being open and being still. It's like the breeze of the sea versus a very high, intense, short moment. It's more like a long mindset. And the question is, how do you, once you discover that, how do you cement that state?
Okay.
So it's
Maintain,
not short.
keep it,
Yeah. How do you keep it and cement it? And you support that with what we call a scaffold. So it's daily rituals that you do.
Thanks for pointing that out under this theme. I do have some follow-on question. But a nice drill would be, and you can begin with, as we do with TEDx Bucharest, we put a theme under the edition. How about you putting a theme, so a word or just a couple of words on you, on yourself, on how you think that you live life now, if you are to give one word to yourself. It can be the same word for all of you, but
describing me in this
describing
situation
you,
or in this group?
describing you, but through one word,
Okay.
which best gives a theme to your life, you know?
Interface.
Interface.
Can we do this again? It was like, boo-hoo.
We'll do
Interface.
Interface. Okay.
I need that.
Overview.
Okay, thanks.
You say effect.
Oh yeah, right. Now I'm gonna go with searching.
Searching,
Yeah.
okay.
Phew.
That was it? That was not it.
Maybe that was it.
Preparing the...
I was about to go with happy.
Happy sounds good.
Happy sounds good.
It's now better?
Yes. Surfing.
All right. And before we close to with your reaction on how did you feel the day, how it was to meet all these people, probably to listen to some of the talks, because your talk was closer to the end of the day. And I missed the experience on stage, but I do wonder, how is it, and I was wondering this when researching for you and for our talk here, how is it to have this explosion of awareness? And there's probably people out there that weren't at the event, weren't at your experience before, but let's dive into this and break it down a bit, because, or can I do this somehow by my own, or there's things that I can do that can get me closer to the experience that you created previously?
I can relate
Yeah,
to that.
yeah.
And but because it also touches on the previous question, what you said, I feel like we have this tendency to try to find like a cause, you know, and this is kind of the danger zone you were talking about, like creating those peaks and seeking value in those peaks. And for me personally, those peaks are just a representation of a certain state, but what is important is the state, and the triggers are, I feel like, are different for many people. For me, it's also nature quite often, but it's always important to remember that we shouldn't be focusing on those things. Like, for example, the nature. It's very easy to say, hey, I should just go to nature every day and like experience this every day and go to even higher mountains, climb even higher tops, you know. But the thing is, this is valuable just in a sense to give us to make
what
us.
It gives back.
I would say so that you realize what you're missing on a daily basis. But then to remember, okay, I don't need to climb a mountain not to miss out on that. I just need to be here, you know, because
Okay.
yeah. And I would think maybe the question should also focus on that, so that we don't commit into this mistake of searching for peaks, kind of. I don't know if you agree, but that we might take.
I don't need to agree on that. It's just the thought-provoking itself that happens even here. So this is something that I'm grateful for.
The question was how people can experience.
Yeah, step
experience
closer
like
to
the feeling
this
of
kind
awe.
of experience. Yeah.
I think the difference is kind of in not so much in what you do, it's more in how you perceive things. That's what Paul said, because it's very, very hard to be on top of a 6,000 meter high mountain all the time. You cannot do it. In order to look for like new peaks, you need to change your perception. So you and not change it in any way, but enhance your capabilities of perception as a musician. The really, really great musicians are like, they have incredible ears. They can hear things you wouldn't dream about, and that's why when Andras Schiff hits a key at his piano, he hears so much, probably, like, and it's the same sound I would hear when I hear him play, and through the power of his mind, probably I would hear a bit more, and that will generate a feeling of awe within me. But what great musicians have done is like they dive deeper in sound and in that kind of music, and deeper and deeper and deeper, and that's where you find the state of awe, I think, then on a daily basis, basically. And so whatever it is, like if you're crafting, whatever, or you're hiking mountains, or you're a musician, whatever, you go deeper and deeper, and then you find that feeling. I think that's it.
Thanks for pushing us to see exactly this, and I'm sure that things that happened across the day echoed in you as well. So do you have any gut feelings right now about what happened, the people you've met, things that you've heard, also some probably reflections that came back to you from your moment that you just had? What's the takeaway now when you leave TEDx Bucharest for each and every one of you, or and also as a group? How did you felt the experience? It hasn't decided. There's nobody else over there. So pray for that to stop.
I think this is the first time we have been performing together and co-creating together for a large audience. It all has started in a castle in Poland at the College of Extraordinary Experiences, and it has exploded from there to Bucharest.
Okay.
And it's kind of there is some bubbles in the air, whether, you know, what's next. We have no clue. We just got off stage, so we need kind of breather to process what just happened
silence,
as a group and us together. One of the most meaningful moments for me at TEDx was listening to Alex's talk about his experience of high altitude mountaineering. And I was just looking at Barbara and we're like, okay, this validates so much what we're talking about, because, you know, it doesn't matter if you go to space or climb a mountain or, you know, have this powerful experience. And we just saw him there, how he was talking about gratefulness as a solution, which is finding the extraordinary in the ordinary, what you just mentioned, Michael. And also him becoming a planetary protector after that experience.
Making this a cause.
Exactly. But that being triggered by this very powerful event, and also seeing his approach of how he sees the world. You know, you mentioned that you're diving deeper and deeper. A beautiful metaphor that Maslow talked about in his kind of late life. He said that it's not about seeking the peaks, but it's being on a plateau. Because if you're on a plateau, you can easily climb the peak and go back down. And the plateau is usually not as windy as the peak is, and it's not as intense, but it's still an amazing feeling of peace. So it's like really beautiful to see that reflected in Alex's talk. So
thanks for positioning us mentally in that state, you know, like being on a base camp, being ready to ascend, descend, ascend, descend. If there's something else that you want to add, would love to listen to your thoughts as well.
Thomas, do you want to talk
Just take
about
it.
music
Just
and
take
brain science and brain fox and stuff?
Let the journey begin.
I would say I'm very grateful, and I think we are very grateful, first of all, to be part of TEDx Bucharest. I think this is exactly one of those initiatives that we need around the globe to see people coming together, caring for what comes next, and trying to find a solution, because we all need to work on that. We all on this one shared planet Earth, and there's only this one home that we need to protect. So it requires efforts from the individual to the collective, to the ordinary, to all the way zooming out to space. So there's a whole spectrum of efforts that we will need to find a global solution. And this is one part of it. So thank you very much.
Thank you as well. I do hope that people over there will see the urge that I see in Barbara's eyes, in all of yours eyes. So thanks for being part and creating and co-creating this moment today as well. Thank you. So, for you.
Thank you.
Thanks.